What is happening, everyone, and welcome back to the Roger Report. The news cycle is absolutely on fire this week, and we've got the inside scoop on the stories that matter most. From gridiron gridlock to off-field drama, the landscape of professional sports is shifting before our eyes, and you're going to want to stay locked in for these updates. We're diving deep into the biggest headlines, bringing you the details you won't find anywhere else. Get ready because the action is heating up, and we're here to break it all down for you. Let's get into it. First up, a seismic shift in the league has everyone talking as a legendary quarterback lands with a new team, but questions are already swirling about how quickly he can gel with his new squad. We're talking about offensive cohesion, new line mates, and a crucial Week 1 matchup that could set the tone for the entire season. Can this veteran signal caller overcome the challenges and lead his team to victory? Then, we're pulling back the curtain on the NFL's most anticipated storylines heading into the new season. Get ready for a deep dive into the brewing controversies, the star players on the move, and the potential flashpoints that could define the year. From star wideouts to rookie sensations, we're covering the drama that keeps us all hooked. Next, we're exploring a fascinating off-field interaction that sheds light on the complex relationships in the sports world. A prominent media personality recounts a moment with a high-profile athlete that speaks volumes about respect, media dynamics, and unspoken understandings. What does this encounter reveal about the athlete's approach to media and his personal brand? And finally, we're breaking down the massive player movement that's reshaping team rosters across the league. Big names are changing uniforms, and we're analyzing the impact these trades and signings will have on championship aspirations and rebuilding efforts. Who made the biggest splash, and who is set up for success? Don't miss a single second of this. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the most informed sports community out there. Let's go. Offensive cohesion under the microscope. The Pittsburgh Steelers are heading into the 2025 NFL season with a significant question mark hanging over their offense, centered on their newly acquired veteran quarterback. While the team was patient during a lengthy free agency period, allowing the quarterback to take his time in signing, the reality of the fast-approaching season now demands rapid integration. The primary concern, as highlighted by ESPN's Brooke Pryor, is the development of offensive cohesion within a condensed timeframe. This isn't just about the quarterback getting acquainted with his receivers, including key targets like DK Metcalf and Roman Wilson. It extends to building crucial rapport with a developing offensive line. Without the benefit of preseason snaps together, the quarterback must quickly learn his lineman's cadence and tendencies, while the linemen must adapt to his. Complicating matters further is the significant personnel shift on the offensive line, with Broderick Jones moving from right tackle to left tackle, and the backfield undergoing a complete overhaul following the departure of Najee Harris. The Steelers' Week 1 opponent, the New York Jets, presents an immediate challenge, featuring a defense familiar to the quarterback from his previous tenure. Moreover, the Jets boast Justin Fields, a quarterback who spent last season with the Steelers and had a successful stint as a starter before being replaced. The expectation is that Rodgers, having not participated in the preseason, will need to shake off any rust immediately. Any hesitation or miscommunication within the offense could lead to a difficult start to the season for Pittsburgh. Audience impact. Fans are buzzing with anticipation and concern, debating online whether the Steelers' new quarterback can overcome the chemistry challenges to deliver a winning season. But what if the biggest challenges aren't on the field, but in how the game's biggest personalities navigate the media landscape? We'll explore a fascinating off-field encounter next that reveals a lot about player media dynamics. Brewing NFL controversies, a season of drama ahead. The National Football League, as always, is a breeding ground for compelling narratives and potential flashpoints, and the 2025 season promises no shortage of drama. From quarterback quandaries to intense rivalries and internal team friction, the league's high-stakes environment consistently delivers a soap opera-like quality. As we look ahead, several brewing controversies are poised to capture headlines and fuel fan debate throughout the year. Tyreek Hill's situation with the Miami Dolphins remains a focal point. Despite expressing a desire to leave at the end of last season, Hill ultimately stayed with the team, but the underlying tension hasn't fully dissipated. With a high price tag on any potential trade and lingering questions about team chemistry, another dramatic headline involving Hill seems almost inevitable, especially if his performance dips or the Dolphins falter. Meanwhile, the perennial debate about game fixing, specifically concerning the Kansas City Chiefs, is likely to resurface. While rational fans understand that controversial calls are a part of any sport, the perception that officials favor the Chiefs persists. Given their frequent primetime appearances, it's highly probable that a contentious 50-50 call will go the Chiefs' way at a crucial moment, reigniting irrational complaints from a segment of the fan base. In Cleveland, the spotlight on rookie Shedeur Sanders is intense. Despite his draft position and current spot on the depth chart, Sanders' strong preseason performance has amplified expectations. With the Browns facing a challenging early schedule, any struggles by the starting quarterback could quickly lead to calls for Sanders to take the field. This situation promises ongoing speculation and media attention that could test the coaching staff's management of expectations. The arrival of Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, while initially appearing straightforward, carries its own potential for drama. If the Steelers experience any early stumbles, Rodgers' candid interactions on platforms like the Pat McAfee Show could become a significant storyline, especially given the somewhat unconventional nature of his move to Pittsburgh. The history of drama surrounding Rodgers suggests that smooth sailing isn't guaranteed. The tush-push remains a hot-button issue, with the Green Bay Packers having been at the forefront of efforts to ban the play. Their proposal, however, failed to gain sufficient traction, leaving the tactic, synonymous with the Philadelphia Eagles, legal. The upcoming matchup between the Eagles and Packers is sure to be scrutinized for every instance of the play, with potential for added narrative if it proves successful for Philadelphia. In Atlanta, the presence of veteran Kirk Cousins as a high-paid backup to Michael Penix Jr. creates an inherent point of discussion. If Penix struggles, attention will inevitably turn to Cousins, potentially impacting the young quarterback's confidence. Furthermore, any quarterback injury around the league will likely see Cousins' name emerge as a trade candidate, adding another layer of speculation. The New York Giants' drafting of Jackson Dart in the first round has initiated a countdown to his potential starting role. Coupled with Russell Wilson's veteran presence, the narrative will likely center on when Dart will take over, especially if Wilson falters. The team's anticipated struggles this season will only amplify the focus on their future quarterback. Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson's initial comments about enjoying beating Green Bay Packers, coach Matt LaFleur have set the stage for a potential rivalry. While LaFleur downplayed the remarks, the competitive nature of the league suggests that payback could be a motivating factor when the two teams meet. For the Indianapolis Colts, the ongoing situation with Anthony Richardson continues to generate discussion. With Daniel Jones starting the season at quarterback, speculation will persist about when Richardson might get another opportunity, particularly if Jones struggles. The team's uncertainty at the quarterback position after Richardson's injury-plagued early career is a storyline that will likely persist. Audience impact. Fans are eagerly dissecting these potential controversies, with social media platforms buzzing with predictions and debates about which storylines will dominate the NFL season. But beyond the on-field matchups and team dynamics, the relationships between athletes and the media can be just as revealing. We're about to delve into a specific interaction that highlights these complex dynamics. Rodgers declines media opportunity, sparks discussion on athlete-media relations. Aaron Rodgers has made a concerted effort this offseason to engage with and celebrate the Pittsburgh Steelers' storied history and its legendary figures. His recent interview with Kyle Brandt of NFL Network, where he responded thoughtfully to Terry Bradshaw's "chew on bark" comment by expressing a desire to build a relationship, showcased a more conciliatory approach. However, not all media interactions have been met with such openness. Ryan Clark, co-host of The Pivot, recently shared that Rodgers declined an invitation to appear on their show, citing other commitments. Clark recounted an instance where, upon seeing Rodgers interacting with Steelers head coach Arthur Smith while arriving at a facility, he extended a greeting. Rodgers, according to Clark, looked in his direction but did not respond verbally. Clark expressed that while he respected Rodgers' decision not to engage in a potentially disingenuous interaction, he viewed the lack of a simple greeting as impolite, especially given that he perceived no active animosity between them. He stated, "For me, if I truly don't have an issue with you, I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to say hello. It's rude not to, in my opinion." Clark elaborated that Rodgers' silence communicated a clear boundary. He was like, "I'm not gonna be fake." For whatever he feels or whatever it is, he's like, "That is not someone that I fool with in that way, and I'm not going to fake it." This non-interaction set a definitive tone, leading Clark to refrain from engaging further when they were on the field later. Rodgers has a well-documented history of contentious relationships with members of the media, particularly certain ESPN personalities who have been critical of him over the past several seasons. Despite this, Clark himself acknowledged Rodgers' exceptional talent, calling him the most gifted quarterback he's ever played against and praising the precision of his throws during training camp. This incident, however, offers a glimpse into Rodgers' selective engagement with the media and his clear demarcation of personal and professional boundaries. Audience impact. The sports community is actively discussing Clark's account, with opinions divided on whether Rodgers' actions were justified by his media history or simply a snub. Now, let's shift our focus to the broader landscape of player movement and how these high-profile transfers are reshaping the league. We'll break down the biggest moves and their potential impact next. NFL offseason shakeups. Stars on new teams ignite championship hopes. The NFL offseason has been a whirlwind of player movement, with numerous stars changing uniforms, sparking anticipation for the upcoming 2025 season. While last year saw Saquon Barkley's immediate, transformative impact on the Philadelphia Eagles, this year's cohort of high-profile transfers are also aiming to make significant waves. Each team acquiring a star player is doing so with the hope of replicating Barkley's success, elevating their roster and championship aspirations. A major storyline this offseason was the blockbuster trade that sent Dallas Cowboys star Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. In exchange for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark, the Packers significantly bolster their already talented young roster, positioning themselves as serious Super Bowl contenders. The Cowboys, meanwhile, are left to ponder what might have been, having traded away a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Aaron Rodgers' transition to the Pittsburgh Steelers marks another significant veteran move. After a 2-year stint with the New York Jets that ended prematurely due to injury and a subsequent 5-12 record in 2024, Rodgers finds himself on his second team in as many years. The signing process itself was protracted, with Rodgers reportedly waiting to join the Steelers, a move born out of mutual necessity. Pittsburgh needed a quarterback, and Rodgers needed a team. With Rodgers hinting that this will be his final season, his tenure in Pittsburgh carries an extra layer of intrigue. The Seattle Seahawks orchestrated a quarterback swap, sending Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders and acquiring Sam Darnold. This move represents a substantial upgrade for the Raiders over their previous quarterback tandem, signaling a clear intent to improve immediately. For Darnold, his move to Seattle comes after a surprisingly effective season with the Minnesota Vikings, though a late-season slump-tempered enthusiasm. With the Vikings opting for J.J. McCarthy, the Seahawks have now invested heavily in Darnold with a 3-year, $100.5 million contract. The Washington Commanders were particularly active, making 2 significant trades following their surprising NFC Championship game appearance. They acquired Terry McLaurin from the San Francisco 49ers and Laramie Tunsil from the Houston Texans. Tunsil immediately upgrades the offensive line at left tackle, while McLaurin, if he can recapture his previous form, provides a much-needed dynamic playmaker for rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. In another notable receiver move, DK Metcalf was traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers, where he subsequently signed a 5-year, $150 million deal. The Steelers were in clear need of a top-tier receiver, especially after their perceived dissatisfaction with George Pickens. Metcalf's arrival gives Rodgers a legitimate deep threat. Davante Adams is on the move for the 3rd time in just over a year. After starting last season with the Raiders, being traded to the Jets, and then being released by New York, he has landed with the Los Angeles Rams. This appears to be an excellent landing spot, where he forms a potent receiving duo with Puka Nacua. The Dallas Cowboys sought to complement C.D. Lamb by trading for the talented but inconsistent George Pickens from the Steelers. Pickens' inconsistency and perceived locker room issues were factors in Pittsburgh's decision to trade him. The Cowboys are banking on him being motivated to prove his worth and earn a lucrative contract extension. Injuries have impacted some player transitions, as seen with Trevon Diggs. After a promising start with the Texans was cut short by an ACL tear, Diggs signed with the New England Patriots. While concerns exist about a 31-year-old receiver returning from a major injury and showing signs of decline, the Patriots need to provide support for young quarterback Drake May. Cooper Kupp, a franchise icon for the Rams, was released and signed with division rival Seattle Seahawks. At 32 and having dealt with numerous injuries, his release wasn't entirely surprising. However, at his best, Kupp remains an elite receiver, and the Seahawks needed to bolster their receiving core. The Denver Broncos addressed their long-standing need at tight end by signing Evan Engram to a 2-year, $23 million deal. Engram, who had productive seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars, joins a Broncos offense under Sean Payton, who has a history of effectively utilizing tight ends. In a surprising move, the Kansas City Chiefs traded Pro Bowl guard Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. The 32-year-old Thuney is expected to significantly upgrade an offensive line that struggled to protect Caleb Williams during his rookie season. Finally, the Philadelphia Eagles saw defensive lineman Josh Sweat sign a lucrative 4-year, $76.4 million contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Reuniting with former Eagles defensive coordinator and now Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon, Sweat brings a much-needed pass-rushing presence to Arizona, having recorded 33 sacks over the last 4 seasons. Audience impact. Fans are actively tracking these moves, with social media ablaze discussing the potential impact on team performance and fantasy football implications. And that wraps up our deep dives. But before you go, let's hit the highlights one last time. And that's a wrap on another packed episode of the Rodger Report. We've seen a legendary QB navigate a new team's challenges, delved into the NFL's most explosive storylines, explored a revealing media interaction, and analyzed the massive player moves shaking up the league. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for all your essential sports updates, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Let us know your thoughts on these stories in the comments below, and follow us on all social media platforms to stay connected. We'll catch you next time.